Welcome everybody. Welcome to my live stream. That was an immortal Carlos Santana, still alive, still kicking. Welcome. Good afternoon. Actually, it's good evening. It's 5:17 at the p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Welcome to my live stream. Welcome to my channel. Welcome. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andre Lefevre. Andre Lefevre. I am a citizen journalist, an extreme libertarian, and I'd like to think that I see things the way they are. See things the way they are. Have a nice live stream for us today. Let's go straight at it. Let's go straight at it. The story of the day that interests me the most is the Canada Fredericton, New Brunswick shooting. New Brunswick is just north of Maine, where a apparently 48-year-old man, that's the only way the law enforcement identified him, shot 4 people, including 2 police officers. They are withholding, not telling us, the deplorables, any more information than that. I have in my earlier live stream, I have found some early interviews from that complex, from that area where the shooting happened. 2 of the early witnesses were from Islamic countries, which makes me think that the perpetrator may have been Muslim. Let me close this. Let me read you a couple of paragraphs from The Independent. Here's the headline. Fredericton, Canada shooting, Rob Costello and Sarah May Burns identified as 2 police officers killed with 48-year-old suspect in custody. So at least this is a nice development. They identified the suspect as a 48-year-old man. Key points. Police warned residents not to post location of the first responders on social media. Local resident told reporters he heard the sound like a firecracker. Where is Fredericton in Canada? Let me read a couple of paragraphs. At least 4 people, including 2 police officers, have been killed in a shooting in the eastern Canadian city of Fredericton, with 1 person having taken in custody. You know, I'm getting sick and tired of that lead. All the corporate control media has that lead, and I'm beginning to vomit. Ladies and gents of the media, be effing original. This is stupid if you're aping, rewriting each other's leads. It's almost word for word every corporate control media using that paragraph. At least 4 people, including 2 police officers, have been killed. Come up with something original. Police in Fredericton, a city of about 5,600, that is the capital of the province of New Brunswick, have a 48-year-old suspect in custody. Fredericton Deputy Police Chief Martin Gadet said the 2 officers saw the deceased victims be having shot and killed themselves. So here's another piece of news, and that should have been the lead paragraph. But let's see. There's nothing else new that I have seen. Now, I found let's see here. On Twitter, I found this little recording.
Was the armored vehicle?
This is interview with the witness. So let's listen up.
I could hear rifle shots go off. You know, they'd be like.
Let's start from the beginning again.
From what I can gather, and I could hear someone say, "Get down, so and so," and then I heard 4 rapid shots, just bang, 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 and then whenever I went into the bathroom, I could hear a rifle shot right directly under my window. And all I seen was the armored vehicle, uh, uh, three cops in like army gear with the helmets and rifles. They three went into the building, and then that's whenever the guy come out in the turret or whatever, and he started shooting tear gas into the apartment.
Okay, so that was that. The next story that let's switch gears is something that really worries me, and that is a Unite the Right rally in Washington D.C. Unite the Right rally in Washington D.C. is the same one in the same date as happened last year, where we had mayhem, where both parties, the Unite the Right people and the Black Lives Matter with the Antifa, were paid by Soros operatives. When in Charlottesville, the law enforcement stood down, there was a lot of mayhem, and a young lady got killed. If you remember, well, they want to repeat that in the Lafayette Park in Washington D.C., uh, which is right across from the White House. Already there are preparations for mayhem. This is from Vox. The alt-right is coming to Washington D.C. Here's how anti-racist groups are preparing, and of course we see the Black Lives Matter types out there on the picture. Last August, hundreds of white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and members of the alt-right descended on Charlottesville, Virginia, for the Unite the Right a rally to put the power of white nationals in full display. A year after that event resulted in chaos and violence, groups plan to hold another white civil rights rally in Washington, D.C. A broad coalition of organizers representing anti-racist, anti-fascist, and socialist groups say then Unite the Right 2 participants arrive in city. They will be met with significant resistance throughout the weekend. At noon, August 12th, shut down D.C. a coalition of organizations working to plan counter-protests and other events against Unite the Right. Well, let me tell you something against it. This is a website of Jason Kessler, who is the organizer of the event. And he has nothing to do with the Republicans. He has nothing to do with Christian conservatives. He has nothing to do with libertarians. He has nothing to do with Obama, even though you're going to see nothing to do with President Trump. I'm sorry, I misspoke. He has everything to do with Obama. I am sure, it's the plan. It's the plan of the Democratic Party and the left to tie him, because of his white skin and his white supremacist ideas, to our president, to Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, this man belongs in the leftist camp. He is the product of Obama, and he is the product of the Democratic Party. This is a Breitbart article. Support: Charlottesville racist leader was former Occupy activist, Obama supporter. The Southern Poverty Law Center reports that Jason Kessler, the organizer of last Saturday's Whites, and this is an old article. This is from a year ago. The Southern Poverty Law Center reports that Jason Kessler, the organizer of the last Saturday's white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, is rumored to be a former Occupy Wall Street activist and supporter of Barack Obama. The left-wing SPLC is often partisan and overzealous in targeting hate groups, lumping legitimate conservative organizations together with actual extremists. And you know what? No, that's not what they're doing. They create Soros money, Obama money, and Clinton money, and large corporate money, create fictitious group who claim to be white supremacists, and they are controlled by the left, and then they clash with with the radicals on the left, like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. So all of it is a kabuki theater. All of it is designed to create mayhem and make it look like us, the regular people, the regular middle class, the Christians and the libertarians have anything to do with this bullshit, and we do not. This is same article. Let me read it. The SPLC notes rumors about on white nationalist forums that Kessler's ideological pedigree before 2016 was less than pure and seemed to be point of involvement in the Occupy movement and past support for President Obama. At the recent speech in favor of Charlottesville's status as a sanctuary city, Kessler live streamed himself as an attendee, questioned him and apologized for an undisclosed pad during Kessler's apparent involvement with Occupy. Kessler appeared visibly perturbed by the woman's presence and reminders of their past association. So Kessler is a Democratic operative, and it scares me. Scares is the wrong word. Makes me concerned to no end that the Democratic Party is controlling both ends of that explosion that they're trying to happen. One, they have that phony white supremacist rally that is paid for by the liberal Democratic Party, which never shed their racist past, never shed their Nazi past. Remember, before World War II. Democratic politicians had pictures of Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini in their office. Both fascism and National Socialist Party, remember, German Hitler's Nazi party was called National Socialist Party. Both of those parties were offshoot of the progressive movement and the Marxist movement, socialist movement at the turn of the 20th century. I want to say even more. Dinesh D'Souza shows in his book and in his movies definitively that Nazis got their eugenics idea from the Jim Crow laws of the Democratic Deep South. So there are a lot of ties between the Democratic Party and the Nazis and the fascists. It's not a hyperbole. It's a true thing. So anyways, it is my belief that this is a test run of a possible color revolution in our country, create enough mayhem so the Soros left can bring in foreign military companies, private military companies to create even more mayhem. Then the deep state will declare martial law. It will either assassinate Donald Trump or arrest him on a Trump charge against humanity because they'll tie him in with the phony white supremacists. And it may create a true civil war in our country. The goal of the Democratic Party and the hard left is to suppress us, the freedom-loving man, the middle class, to extinguish us, because they want to rule us with an iron fist. Why? I think you need to ask psychologists about that, the psychiatry. Why somebody wants to destroy freedom is something that I cannot answer. All right, let's see. Moving on. Let's see what else I have for today. The next one is another story that makes me very, very unhappy. I'm talking about the Ohio elections situation. This is from the Inquirer, Cincinnati.com. Ohio 12's margin that narrows as Franklin County finds the votes. Basically, what happened is that Democrats manufactured. Let me see. How many did they manufacture? Let me go back. I think I just lost it. Here we go. How many did they manufacture? Like almost 600 votes. Let me read. Columbus, the tight race between Democrat Danny O'Connor and Republican Troy Banderson just got tighter. And that's from the article from yesterday. Election officials in Franklin County found 588 previously uncounted votes. Yeah, sure. Democrats just found 588 votes. So right now, let's see, the Balderson lead shrunk to about 1,600. The only way Democrats can win is if they cheat, if they create voter fraud. They can't win legitimately because their ideas have been discredited. Absolutely. Now I am going to play you fair use. Lou Dobbs's interview with the man who knows everything there is to know about voter fraud, fair use. It's a couple of minutes long, and I think you will enjoy it. Let it rip.
Try to shield the president. Oh, that's terrible that Republicans would want to protect this president, in the minds, at least, of the national left-wing media. The fact is, Devin Nunes was absolutely correct, and the left, as usual, well, far, far gone. Joining me now, Eric Eggers. He's research director at the Government Accountability Institute. He's author of the newly released book, Fraud, How the Left Plans to Steal the Next Election. Eric, it's good to have you with us. And voter fraud, we hear the left continue to dismiss the very idea, saying the numbers are too small. It's not a matter that we should worry our little heads about. You found quite a different result.
That's right, Lou, and it's great to be here. At the Government Accountability Institute, we decided, because we're tired of hearing talk about this so-called myth of voter fraud, we want to see what the actual evidence was. So we did an unprecedented look at the national level using all the publicly available voter rolls we could gather, and we hired a data expert and contracted with a commercial database. And what we found was stunning. We found in the state of Florida what appeared to be over 2,100 examples of double voting. That means that 2,100 Floridians cast one ballot in 2016 and then cast a second ballot in a different state. And as I'm sure you and your viewers remember, that's nearly 4 times the margin of victory in the 2000 presidential election. So this idea that voter fraud doesn't occur on a scale to sway significant elections is clearly just not true.
Well, I remember clearly, but much of the audience is too young to remember, Eric, I'm sure. But everybody's aware of one thing. When the Supreme Court starts citing statistics that say that the potential for voter fraud is immense, that is something that we all can focus on clearly and unequivocally. And the number of double state registrations to vote, the number of registered voters outnumbering those who would be eligible to vote because of their age, I mean, it's striking, and it is deeply concerning.
It absolutely is, Lou. The Supreme Court cited statistics, as you noted, that says there's nearly 3 million voter registrations in this country of people who are registered to vote in more than one state. And even the President Obama's own Commission on Election Administration in 2013 noted that 16 million voter registrations are significantly inaccurate or flawed. In some states, it's up to 15% or 1 in 7. And you talk about the issues of nationwide irregularity. There's 248 counties in this nation that have more registered voters than legal residents of voting age. So clearly there's a problem, and this idea that there aren't organized efforts paid for by George Soros to go out and manipulate those exploitations, that's just inconsistent with what I found in my book.
And the fact is that Soros is spending tens of millions of dollars to pursue an election system that would be the envy of the KGB or the SRU. They're trying to meddle. We have enough people colluding with the Russians in that effort, certainly inspired by George Soros, his money, and the organizations that he is funding.
Yeah, you hear a lot about this idea of Russian collusion. In fact, when I told people I was writing a book on voter fraud, they said, oh, so it's going to be about the Russians, right? And look, we should clearly be concerned about any threat to election security. But I think it's silly to assume that somehow Russians are less concerned about manipulating American political outcomes than the Democrats.
Yeah, I do think, by the way, that we should not only be concerned about it, we should be safeguarding the integrity of these elections. There should be Republicans and Democrats at every polling booth in the country, polling place in the country to assure the integrity.
All right. So That was that. That was that. Want to repeat? This is the only way. This is the only way Democrats can win by voter fraud. In California, where I am, Democrats figured out how to vote illegals, and I'm using my words very carefully. I'm not saying that illegals are voting. They're being voted. They're being registered, sometimes unbeknownst to themselves, by the California Democratic Party, and then people are bussed from precinct to vote. Some estimate that as many as 3 million illegal votes cast in California every presidential election. In Ohio, it is apparently that cemeteries voted. I saw a report that hundreds of people, registered voters, were born in 1800s, which is an impossibility. Before I go, I have to remind all of us that Alex Jones is still banned from YouTube, and he's banned from Facebook. This is an attack on our freedom. I know some mealy-mouth, smart-ass neoconservatives are happy about that, and they pay lip service that it shouldn't have happened, preceding by a long tirade why they think that Alex Jones is no good. Alex Jones, in my opinion, is the bravest one in the media today. He's a true citizen journalist. True citizen journalist. He calls himself the tip of the spear of freedom, and I agree with that. He is the tip of the spear of freedom. And, he started a hashtag, I am Alex Jones. I think all of us should hashtag our tweets that Alex Jones, because if this is going to stand, they're going to exterminate the rest of us. First, they're going to exterminate him, and they're going to exterminate mid-size pundits. They're going to exterminate the small guys like me. And after all of us are gone, they're going to go after the middle class and turn the middle class into slaves. Not kidding. Please don't dismiss me. That's how that happens. And before we go, I want to play some Carlos Santana. Fair use. Enjoy. Have a blessed day, everybody. Thank you for watching my channel, for watching my Periscope, for watching my live stream. Have a blessed day.